Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the... Good Lord, I'm butchering this. Welcome to the Game Industry Executive Summary. I'm really sorry, everybody. This is Casey. I was looking at some news items, and that's why I'm all confused in my head. With us, the analyst himself, Manu Rosier, and of course, the dashing Dave Thier. Welcome on board, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. If you notice, I'm shelfless. The office is in flux.
Well, yeah. There are multiple things we're noticing. One, your sweater is really awesome.
I purchased this from Aran Sweater Market in Galway, so thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
We have no shelf, but we have amazing camera quality. And I checked the last video or the last podcast. I think your camera quality was the best out of all of us.
Well, here's what I'll say about that. Is that I lent it to a friend to record a thing. So if anyone needs a composer, this guy is as good at composing as he is at adjusting camera settings. So Vitaly Dobin, excellent composer. He did wonders for my camera.
There you go. Manu, any new changes in your scenery?
I tried to put a Lego car on my wall yesterday, but I can't for some logistic reason to have something better than a bland white wall. So I think I'm going to do some improvement in the weekend because I will be joining another podcast as a guest for...
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, we'll have to watch.
Which one is that?
Deconstructor of Fun.
Oh, speaking of the Deconstructor of Fun, we were actually looking at our other friends from the Game Discovery Co. newsletter. I think I also received something interesting this week from Deconstructor. Give me just 1 second. Here we go. 7 trends redefining 2024.
We don't have a lot of time left to redefine 2024.
So one of the headlines is From Casual to Complex, 7 Trends That Shape Gaming 2024. I'm not sure if you've had the chance to look at that. Any?
Nope.
Not yet. So how about we look at this one, the Game Discovery Co.'s newsletter about new data on Steam wishlists, conversions, and the hit-driven market. And by the way, if you hear any background noise, I will probably do a reveal. I think they're either sleeping or moving around, but we'll figure it out. Let me just share my screen, and gentlemen, you'll have to tell me something about this because I found it interesting at least. Here we go. So I think what stood out is this part to me, and you have to go back here, down here. Predicting how your PC game will sell on Steam. And then, of course, he's saying here that, it might be a pseudoscience. But even Valve notes that the relationship can be pretty indirect between wish lists and conversions. Is there anything we can, take away with, the games that we've seen release in the past year or so in terms of wish lists and sales?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that, before you release your game, it can be really difficult to figure out how many people are going to buy your game, right? That's true of any entertainment product. And so wish lists are like one of those, or just a piece of data that people get, so they pay a lot of attention to it. And I think we're seeing that maybe it's a pretty imperfect piece of data, but I do expect people to keep leaning on it just because there's not a lot else to work with aside from, social media chatter, Discord joins, that kind of thing. It's probably going to remain one of the more direct things we've got.
Yeah, there used to be more data available about pre-orders. There are still some, but this is not something you get everywhere. It was also easier when there were more packaged because we would get pre-orders from the retailers. With everything going digital and the Steam share being bigger, it's not easy to get pre-orders. I would say wish list can before launch can be an indicator of week 1 numbers. Like if you wish list the game, you are waiting for it to launch and then you buy it. But it can also be just an indicator of a future catalog sales when there are discounts. My wish list is mostly to make sure I don't miss any significant discount on the title I plan to buy, but not at full price. So I think wish list is kind of, a wish list doesn't tell you when a player is going to buy it. Unlike pre-order, that's basically day one. So that's a big difference between the two. But I think it's also a good indicator for a game that has been already launched, that the potential of a discount, right? If you have a big wish list, a big wish list size of a game already launched, you know that you probably can convince some player by going heavy on discount level.
Does Steam also have pre-orders? Is that possible?
I don't remember if this information is available, to be honest. It should, because they are already, the purchase is happening, right? You can kind of buy a game before it launched, but not always. So you cannot pre-order all the games, but you can wishlist all the game, but you cannot pre-order them. You cannot like pay for all of them. So that's probably the difference.
And when you're looking at it from the outside, you can see wish lists, but oftentimes people are using like Steam player counts to estimate sales, and so you wouldn't be able to do pre-orders because they're not playing.
Yeah, I think as a publisher, you can see your pre-orders on Steam, but you are the only one that can see these pre-orders. While a wish list is something everybody can see.
I see. Okay, cool. And I see here, I also noticed in this article from the newsletter rather, from the Game Discovery Co. Friends of ours, they have done a survey back in April, which showed that games that launch with more than 10,000 wish lists had a median of 70% of their wish list balance at the end of week one of launch. So I guess the conversion on week one out of, let's say as an example, 100,000 wish lists equals 17,000 sales, roughly.
Okay.
And the conversion is a little more complicated there, because I'm sure some of the people that bought it did not have it on their wish list.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, gentlemen. So that's the first newsletter I wanted to look at. The other one is from our friends at the Deconstructor of Fun. And here they're talking about from casual to complex, 7 trends that shaped 2024. And I don't expect you, gentlemen, to have read this thing. I'll share my screen and we can look at it together. But I'm seeing a bit of, I guess I'm a bit sensitive to the word AI these days and what that means, but I would love to hear your thoughts about what I am sharing on screen in a second. Maybe there are things that you have another takeaway on in terms of what you've noticed have shaped 2024. So I'll do some filler here, and you just can cut me off whenever you want. But what I'm seeing on screen here, number one, they have market growth defies stagnation. Number two, the hybridization of games, blending casual, complex, monetization. This one is really interesting, and I would love to see some examples of it.
This is mobile, right?
It seems like it. Or it feels like it.
I guess.
Does he say anywhere, is this all about mobile? It's because he's talking about app loving, so one would think.
Well, he's saying gaming 24. I mean, I'm assuming he's covering up.
App loving is probably mobile, right?
Yeah.
It does feel like it. App loving.
Anyway,
that's
no.
DuckDuckGo. I applaud you for using DuckDuckGo. I always mean to do such things.
You know, I've been using DuckDuckGo, and every time I don't get what I want, I just type Google, and then I type the thing I want. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
But this is the world we live in, unfortunately. But what AppLovin, what is that? Is that a platform, or this is a?
They help content creator make money and get money from consumer, and I think. I've not gone into detail. It's probably one of the most successful story on Wall Street this past year. If you look at the stock market, you will probably see how successful they've been. So they've but it's mobile. So I personally I don't have a lot of insight on mobile.
Fair enough. Now, what about this point? Expanding casual appeal for high IP games. Are they talking about like? If we look at the Marvel, Snap type games, what are we talking about here? Do you know?
Marvel Snap. There's been some. I mean, even like a Pokemon TCG. That's a high IP game. Let's see. Just looking at the App Store right now. That's why my eyes are cast downwards. See what we can see. I didn't realize Infinity Nikki was that's a later dub. That's on the App Store.
Okay, so
Monopoly Go, that's high IP, definitely.
Yep. As I'm reading through this list, it is more and more clear that this is mobile focused, because there's a lot of talk about user acquisition and AI helping in that front. Subscription-based apps, AI chat. Will we see any of that in game? In a traditional game, let's say?
I mean, I could see it for using NPC barks. Or, probably more text-based NPC barks. There people have done some demo stuff about that. It would need to be super limited, right? You can't just like throw ChatGPT onto an NPC. For one thing, it just takes too much to process all of that. But I could see it in sort of limited situations.
Maybe it should probably be based on like the data from your own lore or your story or your.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine, like, let's say the Fallout universe or not Elden Ring, sorry, Fallout or Elder Scrolls, yeah.
Yeah, and they have decades of games to plug into there. All that dialogue, all that lore that they've written. So theoretically, that could be used for some stuff.
And I'm sure some execs out there are like looking at this saying, oh yeah, we can cut costs and make bigger, better. Do we foresee any of that happening in the near future, let's say?
I foresee costs being cut. Better is a different question, but I definitely foresee costs being cut.
Okay. I won't push more on this. So, okay, there's one more last thing before we jump into the news then, gentlemen. GameIndustry.biz put out an article. And in this article, we can see the top 20 games by revenue in the US, UK, Germany, France, etc. Of course, based on data from Newzoo. And I would love to see if you had any comments, thoughts, and things you'd like to add about this list. Number one.
It's only a few markets. I think what's interesting in there, it's of course Black Ops 6 causing this spike for Call of Duty. I think a really strong performance from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That's interesting. I think it's been like 15 years since there was the previous iteration of that game, and will it be successful? Will it stick, or is it like a 1 week kind of a 1 month kind of success? We will see how it goes, but I think I think don't underestimate the power of the Dragon Ball IP. That's also, it's a fighting game, but it's also there is some element of open world. If I understood correctly, Max. Yes.
That's not so. I mean, obviously, it's always going to go down, but it's not like the worst.
It's very quickly, but it has been more successful on console also, just to be clear. I don't think it's appearing in the top 20 on PC. It's more of a console thing at this point, and probably even more on PlayStation.
Well, we did talk about this game specifically, I think, a month ago. And it had a major success.
Yeah, it sold many units very quickly. So I think that was the context.
Well, it's always an interesting thing in the modern industry that, like, selling a lot of units very quickly used to be sort of the only metric that you had, and that was considered success flat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have these other things that we also need to talk about. But I think it is important to remember that the game is successful, right? The question will be what happens going forward, but it remains successful.
Yeah.
Any other like notes that we can take from while we go down the list? So we have EA Sports FC, and then followed by Fortnite, NBA, Super Mario Party, Diablo 4, World of Warcraft. Wait a second, this is top 20 games by revenue. World of Warcraft number 8.
Yes.
Wow.
They released some, right? They released an expansion.
Yeah, there was like 20-year anniversary also. I mean,
Yeah.
there was enough happening there to cause a surge. Same for Diablo 4, right? Vessel of Hatred, that was
Yeah,
released.
and I was just reading. So Diablo 4 has so far made 150 million off of their in-game transactions as well. So they obviously they're primarily driven by like these bigger boxes, but
Yeah,
the in-game store is still chugging along.
yeah.
And when we say in-game, we're talking about microtransactions, or
Yeah, cosmetics.
gotcha. That's very interesting. Um, Surprising to me. I mean, Silent Hill 2 remake is that high up?
Cool, man. That's we like to see that. You know, we like to see that kind of thing doing well. I think.
I mean, if it was a Resident Evil, it will be even higher than that. So I think it's good performance and nostalgia, right? Again, good, and the game is good, right? The game is a good remake. So and there is an audience for that. There has not been any Silent Hill game for such a long time, but this is the kind of IP that has a big enough fan base to be remembered, right? It's not like some other IPs that you take out of the grave and then they have a mild success. This one has been in the how do you say that? Anyway, around in the mind of players for a long time. Even people that have never played that, they probably have heard about it. Uh, the
It
Z,
will.
Z,
Yeah.
Z-based.
Yeah.
Z-based? Yes.
I mean, the game will absolutely find a spot in my shelf that is open for it.
Mm-hmm.
I do have the original from 20 years ago, so
Not my shelf because my shelf has been deconstructed.
yes.
So we're
And I would
past shelves.
absolutely play it, but I'm starting to be like, do I need to play that now? Do I need to pay it full price or do I wait for a 50% discount? Right. And I think more and more people are probably going to be like that unless you are ultra fan.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
at the same time, I think you also had the Stalker 2 that was released a few days ago. And I'm like, I'm gonna wait until they patch that game because it's not finished at launch. So there is this double element of if marketing teams cannot create this FOMO effect for a single player game, then you're like, I wait until it's polished and it's cheaper. I don't want to be a beta tester that spend more money than future.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
always a tricky one. I mean, that's always been a problem, right? Like people have always even bought stuff the next year, bought stuff at Black Friday,
Mhm.
whatever, and it's just even worse now. I think I'm probably going to buy Stalker 2 now and then play it once it's patched because I don't know. Those dudes made a game in war-torn Ukraine, and I'll give them $60.
Yeah, I
But,
see. Yeah, just more sponsorship. Yeah,
yeah,
Gentlemen, part of this article, I mean, there are two lists here. One is based on the top 20 games by revenue. The other one is based on the top 20 games by monthly active users. And just to be accurate here, so both the games in the revenue section and the games in the monthly active users are both eligible to be in both lists. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a mouthful. Sorry about that. But on the top 20 games by monthly active users, so the number one game with the most monthly active users in the world, or according to US, UK, Germany, and some other countries, Fortnite. But it's not the top grossing game.
No,
Is that correct?
it's number 4. Yes.
So what can we learn from this in relationship to these lists when we want to compare the games that both have active users and are top earners?
The only games about Fortnite when it comes to monetization are premium games, right? So, of course, people are not going to spend millions and millions of time, $80, because the game has just been released, right? So, I think it's good enough. I would be worried for the industry if Fortnite was top on both revenue and monthly active user. I think here at least there is some hope for some publisher to be at the top of the rankings from a revenue standpoint if they release a new game. So I think it's actually high for Fortnite to be number 4.
I think that's right. I mean, it's beaten out. You know, again, Diablo 4 had the Vessel of Hatred, so that's still a lot of big sales in there.
Mhm.
And Mario Party, that obviously that's just on Switch, so it's lower install base, but still, that's a box. That's a full price thing. But I think I agree with Manu that like Call of Duty's got a lot of advantages in that they can charge 70, 80 collector's editions, and then people are probably going to throw some money at
in-game
microtransactions as well. So yeah, they got a lot of advantages to over Fortnite in this month.
So what's interesting, I guess, now because we've had some newcomers that did make the top 5 list of let's say monthly active users, but just looking at then this is last month, or is it this is last month, right? November. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If we look at the top 5, type 10, so the Fortnite, Call of Duty, Roblox, Minecraft, GTA, Rocket League, Counter-Strike, Sims, League of Legends, Valorant, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege. None of these games are new. Like, they've been out for at least a minimum of 5, 6, 7, 10 years, or whatever the case might be.
Which is not recent. It's like a bit younger, but we get the point. And I think if you go down the list, Diablo 4 is probably the absolute most recent one of the top 20.
Yeah, though I guess if it's sort of the sports games are a bit tricky there, right? Because technically they are new games, they're new box products, but
yeah,
it
is everlasting experience. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean in terms of engagement, and that's the whole story about our industry. You're not gonna get someone that just come and becomes top 1 monthly active user for more than 1 month, right? You cannot top the Call of Duty, the Fortnite, and anything at this point. You would need to build your audience and come with something completely cannibalizing the others. It's not about finding a new audience, right? It's not like people are going to start buying more console or more PC to play a new game. It's just going to be cannibalization from something else. And I think the one that's kind of notable in there for me is Cyberpunk.
I was going to mention that.
Really
and Dead by Daylight. I didn't know that they were putting up those kind of numbers.
Dead by Daylight, this is a live service game, and they keep adding new culturally relevant content, right? So they keep updating, and I think it's good. And I think Destiny 2 it was also the one that's back into the top 20 from a bit being a bit outside. But other than that, these are all multiplayer games, with the exception of The Sims 4, which, I mean, it's also a great performance when you think about it. There is no real live service with Sims. It's just people playing games and buying new content, or just playing the game. And it shows the size of the player base of that game, even if it is now in free to play.
Yeah, I think I would argue that's live service. They're releasing like
updates,
like 7 or 8 content packs of various sizes across the year.
Yeah.
Is this Sims or
Sims? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would agree on that, by the way, in relation to the definition. But if I may ask you, so does this list ever encompass companies that don't necessarily have their games on Steam? So let's say, as an example, Escape from Tarkov.
Valorant is not on Steam.
Okay.
Fortnite.
Or League of Legends.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so we are covering a variety of games that are not available on these platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms
really
of
happy to hear that.
The data is really covering the market. In terms of revenue, it's more challenging because we don't have access to all the data.
Thank you so much. Okay, gentlemen, I feel like I'm ready to move over to the newsletter and actually discuss the news. We didn't talk about fun stuff, but I guess that's still a good thing sometimes to kind of run some side things that we want to learn more about. So I'll jump into the news segment. On the highlights, number 1 item on the list: as the game industry continues to crumble around us, Fortnite proves it's still doing just fine as it hits a new player count record. Does this have anything to do with the concert? Because, and this is a note, by the way, to both of you, and you might have noticed. So my kids have been talking about an event in Fortnite. I was like, okay, what's that? And then they were like, they don't really know the details of it, and they don't really watch music or listen to music actively in any shape or form. However, this event was a talk at school, and then they came home and it was like, oh yeah, it's 2:00 on this day, or on Saturday, whatever it was. And then I joined them in the background, looking at what the event was. And basically it was a concert. It was a digital concert in Fortnite.
Mhm.
and it was very interesting because it was like you were running around in this lobby with your friends, and then once there was a counter, it's done. It reaches 0, and then they take you from like one point to another, and then different characters. First Snoop Dogg, and then Eminem, and then some other like musicians and famous actors or whoever. Um, did that have any impact? What is happening? Can you dissect what's happening, please?
Well, first of all, it's the start of chapter 6, right? Which is the year 6 of Fortnite, which happens only once a year because it's a chapter, it's not a season. So a chapter means it's a completely new map. Every single, it's just a new map, right? So that is a bit big enough to bring back many lapsed players that are curious about what's going to be the new map, what the new map will look like, what's going to be the theme. So that's one thing. That on top of that, this time the event was with popular hip hop singers, and that added a layer of interest from all the players. And I also think that the previous season, which was called the remix season, where it was basically the map was a patchwork of previous popular location from previous chapters and seasons. I think it worked very well in terms of engagement. So you had a high engagement at the end of this season, a concert, and the start of a new chapter, and all put together like brought so many players. Personally, I've jumped back into Fortnite a few weeks ago, and everybody was super excited about this event. So I think I think what's interesting is that Fortnite keeps being fresh, right? After all these years, we see some other live service title, some battle royale that are like really losing steam, or we just barely hear about them. Fortnite stays relevant, not only by adding new features or new games like Fortnite Lego, like everything happening with the UFN, but just with the basic battle royale experience. This is just the basic royal experience. Battle royale experience is still the most popular experience in Fortnite by far, and it's still more popular than any other battle royale experience on the market. So
I have
I
to.
find it funny that the basic battle royale experience contains a concert by Snoop Dogg and Eminem.
yeah,
Well, I do want to add this note, which made me laugh because of what you're saying. Because they watched the concert thing, and it took maybe I think 10 minutes ish. But
Mhm.
once it's done, they just logged off. I was like, "Aren't you gonna play?" There was no like,
Yeah.
immediately go from the concert thing to the gameplay thing. It was like completely decoupled.
But I think that's great. It supports different kinds of players is sort of a complicated word. It's different kinds of experiences. People want very different things from Fortnite, and ever since the
yeah.
very beginning, that's been what it's been really good at, is supporting different kinds of play.
I think what's interesting also is that they basically milked all the Disney content with the Marvel stuff and the skins and the Spider-Man this and there and Star Wars. They also had some previous concert with mostly hip hop celebrities. They focus on that. But I think they are more and more transforming real life singers into Fortnite superheroes, right? And Fortnite skins, and everybody can have a skin in Fortnite and be a superhero in Fortnite. And I think it's they are basically serving their audience what their audience like, and they've realized the overlap of their audience with probably hip hop interest, and that's what they are doing. I think what's also super interesting is that they are doing more collaboration when it comes to the skins of vehicles. So now you can have a Porsche in the game, you can have a BMW. Before it was kind of a vehicle skin, unnamed vehicle skins, but now they are doing more and more collabs with car brands, car manufacturers. So and they have the sneakers, of course. Yeah, I hope you've
Yeah,
bought.
that's a whole new category. You can put
Yeah,
that on any
Wait a
skin.
second.
Yeah.
yes,
Well, you said sneakers?
Yeah,
yes.
so that's not just a new like skin. It's a new cosmetic category.
Yes.
So
Which
you
is
can
just shoes,
yeah,
basically.
you can put Air Force Ones on a xenomorph.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
Which costs around 1,000 V-buck per shoe per pair of shoe, which is the cost
It's
of the
like
battle pass.
$10
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah,
which is the
yeah.
cost of the battle pass.
Wow.
But people like to collect shoes, right?
Well, I mean, this is so interesting. and it's also confusing to a certain extent. No, rather not confusing. Sorry. What is interesting as well is that, I mean, this is becoming almost the platform to go to reach new audience. So if I look at the hip hop people, if it's Eminem or Snoop Dogg, and I think they're in the 50s now, probably. Like my kids, like never ever mentioned Snoop Dogg or Eminem in any context until this point. Okay, that's one. Two, to your point, and I think we covered this a couple months back about, Mercedes. Yeah, when we were at, if you remember, we were at Gamescom. We were seeing like Mercedes and Porsche or whoever it was who were partnering up with Overwatch or other games. So this is becoming a bigger avenue, it seems like, for these people or these companies to reach an audience.
Absolutely. I mean, in the same way that Balenciaga did that, and probably tomorrow Louis Vuitton will do that. And they are very conscious that the audience is not able to afford a Porsche right now. But it's brand building, right, for the future. Or it's influence to the parents potentially. I mean, there is.
No, you just want to be around. Yeah, like you want to be visible, and you want to be. If 100,000 people see a Porsche and one of them buys in Fortnite, and one of them buys it, or one of them's parents buy it, that's a win.
And kids, they don't watch TV, right? So they are uninterested by any TV commercial. So where do you do marketing? When you are that kind of brand, you can only do the bus stop and maybe some places online. But also, let's not forget all the ad blockers that you have right now.
Yep.
It really allows you to be not exposed to any kind of commercial.
Or YouTube Premium for people like us.
Exactly. So where is there space left? And I think in this case, it's very smart, because if you have a game and then you push like a commercial about Porsche in your game, it will be seen as intrusive. Here, not only do you have the free exposure, but you are even making money with people purchasing your virtual item of your brand. I think it's for brands, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing to lose there. Nothing.
Yeah, I remember I was interviewed by someone at Ad Age, I don't know, like 5 years ago, about Roblox, stuff like that. And they're like, do you think, because I know that people can be really sensitive to ads, in games. It's like, do you think that this is going to, players are going to rebel against this stuff? And I'm like, Roblox is a whole different game. That the younger generation, like, they just have a totally different mindset to this kind of thing. And they, whatever, they don't care.
Will we see this in GTA 6?
I think it's totally possible.
I think it's a good one, because usually when you have the official cars in your game, you have to pay for a license to the car manufacturers. And I don't think GTA would ever do that, because they don't need it.
Yeah.
But the other way around might be true. Yes. Maybe car manufacturer will pay to have their car in GTA. That's a possibility.
That would be interesting. Gentlemen, I will move over to the second item on the highlights. New report claims gamers spend more time watching videos about gaming than playing games.
Yeah, I saw this. That report is wrong.
Yeah.
One thing.
Okay.
There are more hours logged, but like, how many of those hours are people watching, and how many do they have a stream going on where they're doing some other thing? Like that's a huge part of Twitch viewership. And I really hope that people don't take the wrong lessons for this and say, like, we need to make our games more like Twitch streams.
Well, I would absolutely make my game watchable by an audience.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just I had a comment from someone that you might also see that with some other activities and not video games, where people prefer to watch that actually do it. I mean, this can be valid for some sport and some other activities.
Yeah, I mean, virtually all sports, right? Like,
yeah,
way more people are playing any given sport except than playing it or watching any given sport than watching it. Well, I play squash, and I feel like it's just like a couple weird people that watch squash. Maybe that's a different one, but we're dealing with edge cases here.
Do we remember the days when I believe it was mainly Nintendo who did not want people or random people to stream their game. Is that still the case?
Who knows
About
what
Nintendo,
Nintendo's
I don't
doing?
follow on many things they are forbidding other people to do. So
Yeah.
I know there's been. Was that not something also they forbid streamers to stream some kind of runs? I don't know. There was something or emulators obviously. But I think this is possible that they prefer people to actually buy the game and play the game rather than watch other people play.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the news then.
But
Oh yeah.
I would say maybe sometimes people would watch games when they are not in a situation where they can actually play the games, right? That's the thing you have to consider. So it might not be cannibalization of game time. It might just be filling your day with even more video game content. It's really cannibalization from Netflix and not from playing.
I think that's totally right. Like, I would be interested to look at Twitch viewership with the rise of work from home. Like tons of people are going to be having a Twitch stream on in the background while they're doing other stuff.
Yeah.
I will also add, I mean, this is covering both YouTube and Twitch, and a behavior that I've had for a couple weeks now, because I am still trying to 100% Elden Ring. So I am spending a lot of time, watching people talk about their builds, or watching people talk about how to find an item, or whatever the case might be. So I'm not sure if that is also probably counted into it, that people... Like back in the day, people would read a guide on how to finish a game. Remember those days? Don't tell me you had written. You did write those?
I of course I wrote many of them. I hate. To be honest, I hate watching guides. I would much rather read them. I can take that information much more quickly. But it's becoming harder and harder for people like me to find the written guides we desire.
Yes, the good old, was it F8 facts?
Yeah, game facts.
Game facts.
Yeah.
Tell me, Dave, I have to ask you, what games did you write guides for?
Well,
back in the day.
Hold on Fortnite.
Fortnite?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because they had all those things where, find 6 gnomes, and they have no real way of saying where the gnomes are, so everyone's Googling it. Those were fat times for a traffic-based pay.
Any old school games we should know about that you've written guides for?
Oh, no. Mostly towards the end of my career at Forbes is when I was running a lot more guides, because we were paid based on traffic, and there you go.
Okay. Then I'll move over to the news, my friends. Again, this item, or this news item, I'm a bit confused about how to read it, but it says, My First Gran Turismo launches on PS5 and PS4 December 6th. Is the game called My First Gran Turismo?
Yes, it's free-to-play game.
I'm sorry. Okay, tell me, what do we learn about this item then?
25 years of Gran Turismo.
25 years of Gran Turismo.
And I don't know the details, but it just, I don't even know if it's a full experience or... I think it's a bit of an homage, I would say, to the franchise. So we are 30 years of PlayStation and 25 years of Gran Turismo.
Congratulations to PlayStation, by the way.
Yeah. And
30 years.
You have to try it and see how it goes, or how close is it to the first Gran Turismo, or to the latest one. But I think it's probably it gives some homage and also to introduce the IP probably to some new players that have never played the Gran Turismo that are not interested. At least it's free, so they can try it out.
Do we know if this is also PC and Steam?
No.
I would be surprised.
Not at this point.
I would be. I'd be curious. I don't know. I don't know if there's much room in the market right now for a simulation driving thing, but maybe there's room for all kinds of things. And Forza is probably the most popular simulation racer at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality on Forza games is out of this world. Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item on the list here. On the news, Ubisoft has shut down XDefiant.
We saw Rainbow Six Siege on that list, so the Rainbow Six Siege is propping up that company, I think.
Nearly 300 people are laid off as San Francisco and Osaka game studios close. Can you remind which game was the X-Defined game, please?
It was marketed as a competitor to Call of Duty. So it's a kind of a close quarter 5v5, I believe, or 6v6 PvP shooter. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are bashing Ubisoft, right? It's easy when you see the stock price. Also, you feel like they have a streak of bad results. I don't know if everything is caused by bad decisions.
Yep.
But I would say these are one of the only ones that are really taking risk and trying new stuff among the AAA publishers.
Yeah, of the big guys. Yeah.
So they fail like 9 times out of 10, but at least they try, right? So I'm sure if they were just milking Assassin's Creed, they would probably be pinned for that too. So it's such a difficult market right now, and the thing is, they don't have a really massive live service game anymore, right? That's what they are missing at this point.
When you say no live service game anymore, massive. Okay, because Rainbow Six is still ongoing, so to say.
Yeah, but it's a 10-year-old game. I mean,
yeah,
it's okay.
Old game, right? It's still there. But it's not a growth opportunity anymore.
Yeah, I saw some headlines about the Division. They're going to get back on that horse, I believe.
Yeah.
As in a third game, so to say, or
yeah.
Okay. So not much to say. I think Ubisoft as a company is probably still a lot of people. Like with all these failed projects, there will be even more consequences to that. There's also like an internal memo from Yves Guillemot available on the net if you want to know more details. It's a difficult spot, but this is kind of a significant news to be posted. Put it that way.
Considering one of the rumors is not on your rumor list today, wasn't there like a rumor that Sony is looking into buying Ubisoft? Or is that just like a super rumor, like a real rumor?
Noise.
Oh, it's actually a not real rumor. Sorry about that.
Noise. Some noise. I think I put it. I don't remember the source. Maybe there was some ex post, but anybody can show that kind of rumor, right?
Yeah, there's been rumors about someone buying Ubisoft for a very long time.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item then. We have Marvel Rivals Battle Pass is an anti-FOMO win that doesn't expire at the end of the season. So I will preface by saying, me working with Helldivers 2 back in the day, we are the OG non-expire Battle Pass people. But I'll let you comment on this.
I feel like we don't know what the final game will look like, but it feels like they are taking a few like player first or good decision. It's not like they are telling anything that would frustrate players at this point. So it's always a good sign, right? Will the game be successful? Will the game be good? That's another question. But at least they are not doing some weird publishing decisions at this point. So I think it's good. It's still Marvel, right? It's not a random new IP. If they manage to get a similar gameplay to Overwatch, but maybe Overwatch 1, right? What made Overwatch 1 successful and what is kind of not working with Overwatch 2? Maybe there is somewhere there, particularly in North America, where we know Marvel games are always way more successful than anywhere in the world. So I think they have a shot actually to get some success, but let's wait and see. It's there.
It's funny to think about like a massive AAA game licensed by one of the largest entertainment properties in the world is kind of an underdog. But I think that's kind of what it is, that launching any new AAA live service game, really launching any live service game, it's tough business. And so I'm just glad to see if anyone makes it work, that's nice to see.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next monetization scheme that will show up. Gentlemen, we talked about this game last week, and it kind of like left me speechless. I posted about it on LinkedIn, got a huge traction on that news item specifically, and that game is Mortrium, I believe. But anyways,
Mortrium.
Trio?
Yes.
Mortrium.
Thank you, Manu. So the Horizon Zero Dawn Dawn style open world survival game, but now it's been approved by Sony as it's, I assume, as a product is available on PlayStation Store.
It will be.
It will be.
It's not released.
I mean, whatever. Like, why would Sony worst case scenario, more people are thinking about Horizon than would be otherwise. So, like, it's weird, and you could see how it could like throw Sony for a loop. But ultimately, like, there's no good reason to keep it off.
Any other comments or thoughts about this?
It's maybe more of a rumor than anything else. It's based on some like trailer, unannounced trailer. But yeah, let's see if it's real or not. I think it's interesting. It's Tencent behind it. You probably don't want to have problems with Tencent neither, so they need to find a middle ground there.
That makes a lot of sense. I know that a lot of like the lawyers usually at these big companies are very stingy, and they are very protective and make sure that, you know, stuff like this doesn't happen. But we'll see. We'll follow this item and see where it goes.
Yeah.
I will jump over to the trends, my friends. How Nintendo Switch has changed Firaxis' approach to making civilization.
I see so many people ever since it came out. So many people playing Civ 6 on the Switch. Like, super popular there.
And probably also playing it on the Steam Deck, I guess, like portable experience. I think that my take here is if you want to increase your revenue, just try to incentivize player to have a double ownership. You know, like instead of being, I mean, one solution is just to sell one license that is available on any platform. The other one is just to sell on two different platforms, but maybe try to incentivize your players to buy on two platforms. Like the save game should be shared between, and that's the case, right? So that the game you are playing on PC, you can continue the game on a Switch, even if you've paid twice the game. And so it's a win-win. I mean, it's a win for the publisher and for the studio because he sold the game twice. So instead of trying to find two players, just get one player that buy your game twice. I think it's probably.
I saw a survey on LinkedIn that was like, what do you have more of, children, cars, or copies of Skyrim?
Exactly. Yeah. GTA.
Like 5. Yeah, exactly.
Last of Us.
And Switch is such a good one for that. I mean, it's funny because Steam Deck, if it sees broader uptake, will really cut down on that, right? Because you would only need the one copy.
Yeah.
But Steam Deck is still pretty like enthusiast hardware. And I think what's interesting about why Civ is such a good example of this, is that it has relatively low requirements, and I think it has a huge wide player base. So many people are like, maybe their parents allowed them to play Civ because it was historical. Maybe they touched on school. Like a lot of people, and also it doesn't have any mechanical requirements, right? You don't need to know how to do dual analog. And so there's a huge amount of people that I think play Civ, but like not really anything else. And a Switch is a good way of accessing those people because it also has a lot of uptake with more casual people. Casual is a funny word. Civ is certainly not a casual game. But people who are less likely to be buying, like, you know, Warhammer, Space Marine 2, you know, the things we associate with the standard suite of AAA games.
Are there any like mechanics that are incentivizing people to buy it on multiple platforms, such as an example, a single save across multiple platforms or something like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Cross progression.
Because I know that, you know, back in the past, like what's that game called? Isaac.
Binding of Isaac.
Binding of Isaac. I understand that type of game did not have these types of cross platform saves, etc. but still was able to captivate a big audience to buy it across multiple platforms. But okay. Interesting, gentlemen. Anything on this? Anything else on this before I move on?
I had a thing, but I forgot it.
I'm sorry. Just remind us. Okay.
I will.
How about this item? This is also in the trends, my friends. Smilegate invests in GTA leader Dan Houser's absurd ventures. So I assume Dan Houser is a former.
Yeah, he's the Housers are. Yeah, they're the GTA guys. If you want to say who made GTA, those are the names that are going to come up first. I would wonder about this, honestly, because I was really struck by like Red Dead 2, right? Like the writing in Red Dead 2. The writing was excellent. The dialogue was excellent. Everything that like was done by workers was really, really good. But the story I did not think was very good. And this is a narrative that I've heard is that like coming from the top down is not necessarily where the quality is coming from.
Yeah, I think people with money, they are looking for big names, right? That's how you give money to someone is based on their previous work. And we saw the studio of Casey Hudson shutting down a few weeks ago. So if you have a name in the industry, it's easier to get the money, but you're only as good as the last games you've released, right? So let's see what happens.
I think that's what's in Hollywood. Directors and even producers do have recognizable names. Like people know who Christopher Nolan is, but like I think Casey was a good example. Like we are here on a games industry podcast, and you still weren't totally sure who Dan Houser was, and that's always been the thing about the video game industry is that yes, Dan Houser's got a name which is super recognizable to investors, super recognizable to industry people, no one else, and so that is not going to be as helpful.
I think you have maybe 5 to 10 names maximum that people would know. You would have Miyamoto, you would have Cory Balrog, you would have the guy from The Last of Us. Maybe
maybe. I think maybe well, you wouldn't people wouldn't know Miyazaki.
Amy Hennig.
Yeah, well, she's always around.
I don't know, but then you would have Metal Gear Solid.
Kojima. And I think people wouldn't necessarily know Hidetaka Miyazaki by name, but he has some of that pull that people follow FromSoft.
Exactly.
In a way that they don't follow other developers.
Yeah.
Well, we saw what happened when he didn't not work or direct Dark Souls 2.
Yeah,
it was an okay game.
Talking about it, yeah.
I mean, it's an okay game, but it wasn't, that thing.
Yeah.
This is also reminding me of the studio behind Everywhere, which is also a former GTA person. What's his name again? His name is so much as, and I'll share my screen so you can see, but I'm not sure if this is going anywhere. So you have to help me. Benzi something?
Leslie Benzi.
Thank you. Yeah.
Are you the guy from Halo, or what was the guy also from Cliff Bleszinski or something like this?
Cliff Bleszinski was Epic.
Yeah.
That was very early.
He made Jazz Jackrabbit, so that's
yeah. But that guy made an arena shooter. Unfortunately didn't
Lawbreakers. Yeah. Lawbreakers was, I think, a canary in the coal mine for shit like Concord and all that.
It was probably right on many things too early. There was probably the other game I was thinking about is Paragon.
Yeah, around the same. Paragon was an interesting situation because like it was. I don't know if it was like failing hard, but it wasn't like blowing up. And then it got completely cannibalized to support Fortnite because they're like, we need all the bodies we can get, and that was right when it was exploding.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen.
It was never released.
Yeah.
These are fun stories because the next one is also a bit fun to read. So this is Koei Tecmo's founder. If I wasn't the boss, I'd have been fired over Neo's 13-year development. I'm confused. I thought Neo was inspired by Demon's Souls. Or am I in this?
12 years of development. So it might be from the release of the first Demon Soul game, and then it took them 12 years, and they went at the time of Dark Souls 3 or something like this, potentially.
Well, it's possible it changed. It changed to be more Soulsy over time because Team Ninja, FromSoft is not the only people to make difficult third-person action RPGs. Team Ninja.
What's the name of that guy with the glasses? Wasn't he there and then he got fired or let go? At the end of the guy who was the director for Team Ninja for a long time.
I don't know. But I think it's great that when some exec, they own their stuff and their decisions.
Yeah.
He didn't fire himself, of course, but at least he acknowledged that he could have been doing things differently.
I'm referencing Itagaki, Tomonobu Itagaki. This guy. You remember this guy? Come on. From back in the day. You remember this guy?
Oh, sure, yeah.
There was always these awkward videos where like he's in a dark room wearing glasses and they're like random girls with short skirts and had nothing to do with video games, but they were talking about video games.
It's like the Japanese John Romero somehow.
But not as cool.
He does. I mean, who's as cool? Neo always reminds me. This is totally off topic, and we'll continue. But it was one of my favorite gaming facts is that like someone did a list of the people or characters that have appeared in the most games, and like top of the list was like some random NFL kicker that had been active for like 25 years, and next on the list is Oda Nobunaga, the Japanese warlord who appears in Neo.
Amazing. Okay, gentlemen, let's move over to the next item on the list here. Reddit overtakes X in popularity of social media platforms in the UK.
I went totally. I stopped using Twitter, and all my social media is Reddit now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. That is very interesting.
Twitter just sucks. Like,
yeah. I will add, Twitter is an extremely negative space.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing was he made, Elon made it so that you could buy the verification. You could buy the blue check. And then all of those responses are prioritized. And so, like, you can't read the conversations anymore because it's just, like, constant right-wing trolls, and that's basically it. So, like, there's no point.
I will say it was the same thing the period before. Now it's obviously much worse, but I feel like there's no like. Can we just be neutral? Like, can we just have fun? Why is that hard? Why can't we just be normal?
Well, the rise of fascism is difficult with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what Reddit is interesting. I've also been using that a lot, and I've also pushed the company I've worked with to be more present on Reddit. And I'm not talking about banners. I'm talking about mere proactivity and like discussing with the audience. I mean, it has two-sided. It can be risky, but I think in some cases, I don't feel like brands are very present on Reddit at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, which I think is a huge part of its popularity. And also, like, it is still the best place to get a ton of information. If you have like a question about woodworking or whatever, you type it into Google and you put Reddit at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought they blocked that ability, or that's still there. Huh?
It would be pretty weird for Google to fully block that. What they did was
I meant Reddit blocking their API to be open.
Oh, that you can still do that.
Okay.
They did make some API changes, but I mean it's Google, right? So they didn't shut Google out.
Gentlemen, you've just convinced me to be a Redditor, so I'm going to look into that. I did swap over. I did.
I can see your beard growing already.
I did swap over to what's that butterfly platform again?
If you don't remember it, it's probably not a good sign.
God damn it!
It's Blue Sky.
Blue Sky. Thank you. But of course, to your point, Manu. Okay, gentlemen. Let's move over to the next item on the list here. Former PlayStation boss, Sean Layden. This is the second item we talked about Sean Layden in like 3 weeks, I think. Says 100-hour games are a mismatch to today's reality. I haven't even opened Red Dead Redemption 2 because I don't have 90 hours. I mean, I feel like this topic we've covered to a certain extent, but I would love to hear your thoughts.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
As a
Can we-
person with
Wow, that's a great quote, though. Can we continue to build these massive edifices to God for this incredible amount of labor and time?
talking about cathedral, right? Or
Yeah,
is it-
exactly. That's great. Yeah, yeah.
I'm still stuck in Elden Ring. Like, the only reason I'm not playing the Fantasio game, please correct me of the name of it again. I think you did that last time.
Metaphor
Refant-
Refantasio.
Thank you. It's like there on the desk where I have my TV, and it's just waiting for me to finish Elden Ring. And then, to your point, Manu, you were talking about Silent Hill. The only reason I didn't buy Silent Hill is because I'm trying to get Elden Ring to finish so I can move on, but I can't.
Well, that's the other thing is like, for broader industry health, any company that is interested in that kind of thing, 100-hour games just mean less people playing games, and also means more same amount of people playing games, people playing less games, and also start building that behavior in. You want I could see if you were an executive at Sony, you would be interested in developing and retraining people how to buy new games.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, Manu. I sorry for cutting you off, but I miss the fucking Uncharted for like play 8 hours, 10 hours, have fun, move on with your life. Why can't we have that?
I know, it's great. Even Last of Us was so much longer.
Because it's not profitable.
It is profitable. Come on.
It was, but then
It was.
yeah, not anymore, definitely. But I mean, this is all this is all hindsight. But like, I wonder the degree to which the people who set up the circumstances to make that no longer profitable are happy about what they've done. Even if they made the money off of it in the meantime. Or at the time.
I mean, the production cost per minute of gameplay is super high, and on the other side, games like Baldur's Gate 3, the revenue per minute of gameplay is very low. So you have to find the right balance, right? You have to find a short game cannot be expensive. That's the thing.
Yeah,
so that's
definitely.
why we don't have the Uncharted type of game anymore, because it's too expensive for the revenue you can get. So that's kind of the challenge.
And again, people, we've talked about this many times, but like Uncharted was always a graphical showcase, and people just pushed graphical fidelity and spectacle alongside these kinds of things, and that just got so much more expensive.
Yeah,
I mean, it does feel though. And sorry again, Manu, for cutting you off here, but it does feel like if you build that platform internally in terms of your pipelines, your technology, all that stuff, then shouldn't it Uncharted 1 leading to 2, leading to 3, leading to 4 be profitable as a franchise?
It doesn't get that much cheaper. I mean, it does get cheaper, but so much of that work is just going into making all of these assets and to setting up all of these scenes and to making all of these things work. Like, yeah, there's stuff you can reuse, but there's like, if you're going to make a big spectacle game, there's a lot of stuff you're going to have to make fresh every time.
I dare you to find any publisher or investor that is thinking in terms of franchise revenue.
Yeah.
They are barely, they want to be profitable after 1 week. So don't even think about a 5 or a 10-year plan like Destiny, right? This doesn't exist anymore in our world. So
yeah, unless your name ends in Hauser.
Okay, so single player AAA 8-hour experiences are dead.
Yeah.
It's official. But it does feel like somebody should bring that back. I'll pay you $100.
Well, you still, the proxy to that are the Resident Evil remakes, probably, or even Resident Evil 9. Because a game like Resident Evil 3 remake is only, a playthrough is 4 or 5 hours, right? But you play it a few times because there are 2 characters and because you unlock more storyline behind it. But I would say there are not so many under 10 hours of gameplay at full price.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. So I just started playing Warhammer, and that campaign is like 12 hours, I think, and people are still saying it's short.
Oh wow!
Because people have adjusted,
Okay. Yeah. By the way, I'm sorry that this cat is constantly.
Another parallel is probably the movie industry again. I think there was a time where they were extending the length of blockbuster, right? 2 hours, 2 hours 30. And it felt like if your blockbuster is more than 2 hours, it's going to be better or more interesting. But I think they're also realizing that a very good action-packed 1 hour 45-minute movie is probably better, and it also allows you to show the movie in more sessions during a day, right? Instead of blocking your room for like 2.5, 3 hours. So.
The Wicked is 3 hours long, and it's a part one, and they are killing it.
I was gonna say, Matrix Reloaded was not much better than the first Matrix movie.
Well, the first Matrix was fucking awesome. So
hell yeah. Gentlemen, I'll move over to the rumors quickly then. Fortnite may shake up gaming by testing a 5v5 FPS mode. I know there's been talks for a while about the UEFN creator allowing. I mean, they were working on a first-person controller. But anything we can learn about this?
I mean, their engine definitely, it's Unreal. It definitely supports it. I believe they've had a first-person with it, like cinematic things within there. Some events, some like chapter-ending event things. So
I read something interesting also is that now that you have sneakers, you can check your sneakers when you are in first person. So that's why
like
you are
inspect mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, let's be honest. If they come with a first person mode, I'm sure they will come with more elaborate weapon customization.
I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, they could get some money, and that's a whole new cosmetic category that they don't do a lot with right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just guns and shoes. We're just guns and shoes.
What about
everything else is just naked?
Yeah.
What? I'm surprised they don't have hats yet, like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I've often been surprised by that. I think the first disambiguated cosmetic category they had was the back bling. Well, aside from the harvesting tool.
The entire body is a one single unit, right? That includes the head, upper body, and legs.
Yeah, and there's a lot of skins they have that would be difficult to disassemble at this point. But yeah.
They might need to create like an entire system to kind of disassociate these two.
Like PUBG is doing that, right? PUBG, you get individual piece of clothing.
Yeah, PUBG's always been that way, right?
Absolutely. I do want to make a prediction maybe for Fortnite. So we might want to see the notion or the idea of apartments. Remember PlayStation Home when that was supposed to be a thing? Remember that? Maybe Second Life had that as well. But if you want to show off that entire collection, Manu, and instead of like picking a single item every single time to show it off to your friends who are only in your party, how can I show off all my shit at the same time?
Yeah, I think it would make I mean that then we're gonna start bringing the M word up again. If I could easily see Fortnite opening up a little neighborhood, and you can have a house in that neighborhood, and you can put your shit in that house.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, the last rumor here, and I actually read this myself on Twitter, of course, because this guy can't fucking help himself being number one on Twitter. Elon Musk hints at buying Hasbro for D&D after announcing AI game studio. Wait a second. There is before this item specifically, there is a different item that he actually started a studio.
Yeah.
No, is that a rumor? Or
he didn't start it.
But I don't think he talked about doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a continuation, right? He talked about. He said basically, game publishers are bad and should be easy to do a great game, and then he was in a discussion about D&D game, and he complained about something. So it's kind of a joke, but with him, you never know if it's a pun or if it's basically launched the most successful D&D game ever in 2 years, right?
I think there was a response that had somebody responded. It's not the game publishers that are the issue; it's the platform holders or something like that.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No.
I'll try and find it for you later. But there was a list of over time. Platform holders, as in gatekeepers. Those are the ones that are becoming bigger over time, and not necessarily the publishers. Okay, so I'll move over to the numbers then, my friends. This item or this game has been making it into the news for the past month, I believe. So Pokemon TCG Pocket estimated to have crossed 200 million mark, already outperforming Pokemon Sleep and Unite.
I mean, I'm not surprised that it's outperforming Pokemon Sleep, which is a sleep tracker.
What was Unite again? What was
Unite's a
that?
MOBA.
MOBA. A MOBA?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A Pokemon MOBA?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot about the MOBA format that works. Your Pokemon evolves, throughout the match. That works. But yeah, I mean, TCG is a beast. Whether we're talking the app or the card or the actual cards, it's a beast. So
it is there to stay. Pokemon is there to stay. Pokemon is, you can't go wrong with Pokemon. Once it's in the right hands, the potential is unlimited because it's been around for almost 2 generations of fans right now, and it's not stopping, right? It's just
It is growing without
yeah,
doubt.
and we can't look at their internal numbers, but my guess is that the card game is probably making the most money outside of like apparel.
I mean, my kids started playing Pokemon Go, right? They just started right now out of the blue for no reason, and the game is beyond. I think my account was like 8 years old, so my kids were very happy about everything I had captured 8 years ago.
Yeah, because well, and if you trade the old ones, you can get a guaranteed lucky trade. But also to that point, next time I see you in person, there is Klefki is only available in France, so I expect you to.
You need to go. Oh
me.
wow!
Yeah.
In the same way that I still have this, my son is playing with my OG Fortnite account with skins from Chapter 1, Season 2, or something like this.
I checked in my Fortnite account, and like some of like my best old shit was gone. I was really disappointed. Like I had the Omega and the superhero skins from from Season 3. I had both of those fully unlocked, and they were gone. And I had like the OG unlicensed John Wick, because they got the official John Wick later, but the unlicensed John Wick was Season 2, and that was gone. I was really disappointed by that. Yeah.
I think I have this old mission specialist. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure there is a market for.
Yeah, the one on the right there is the unlicensed John Wick.
But I believe they actually did something with this.
Yeah, no, later they had a licensed one. Yeah.
There's a meta to the meta. Yeah. No, they did a thing like giving like what do you want to call it? Tipping their hat to the old non John Wick.
Yeah. From that season, I have the astronaut from that season. Yes.
Oh yeah, that was a big one. That's a real rare one now.
They never. Are you gonna put your account up on eBay or something?
No.
Never.
Speaking of putting, I have to check now. I have to check. So I'm gonna go to eBay. Fortnite account. What do you think an OG Fortnite account will cost?
Some €1,000, something.
I'm gonna actually just move over to the highest cost. So the most expensive Fortnite account there is on eBay right now is roughly $1,000. That's not a lot of money.
Not a lot. No. That's not surprising.
Because I remember, like back in the day when my siblings used to play World of Warcraft, or they used to play RuneScape or Tibia or whatever, they used to be able to grind for maybe, let's say, 6 months and then sell their account for like $250. Back in the day, with that money, $250 is like $500 today.
Mm-hmm. I think the problem is that you cannot merge your account. You cannot merge your inventory, right? The moment you can do that, you could basically buy as many accounts necessary to get all the possible skins in the world. And then there will be a really, really collection, because here you want a very old item, you need to buy an account with that item, but it's not part of your own account. So it's like, I own a collection of accounts with items within it, but it's not the same. Yeah. We lost you.
Yeah,
You're
you're
Gies.
muted. You're muted.
Sorry, gentlemen. I was gonna say that the account I was showing on screen was that $1,000 account, and it contained roughly 180, 170 different skins and then various items. I have a 20. How old is Steam? I have like an OG like day one Steam account. Is that worth
Yeah.
anything? Pay me if you
I
want to
mean,
buy an
I'm-
original Steam account.
I'm
Reach
assuming
out.
your Steam account is worth a lot because I'm assuming there are a lot of games in there. So there is that.
There aren't that many games that you might think, to be honest,
Alright.
because I am mostly on the console side. I had Steam originally just because I was playing Counter-Strike back in the day, and then obviously there are some games here and there, but you probably would be disappointed on the amount of games.
I could never be disappointed in you.
Thank you for having faith.
Sure.
Gentlemen, shall we conclude the game industry executive summary today?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay. Thank you so much for your patience with me and trying to figure stuff out. Everybody else who's listening, of course, we appreciate your likes and things. I'm not sure. Do you want to see cats, by the way? I don't know. Like, we forgot about that.
Get those cats. Send us off with cats.
More
Whoa.
stuff are happening. I'll pick up one. Oh, here's one cat. Here's one cat.
Okay.
He's not happy. He's not happy. Look at that. Look at that guy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
cute.
Just a
That's
small
so
ball
cute.
here.
Yeah.
This guy is
Future
3 weeks. 3 weeks old. Yeah.
Better than Pokemons.
Absolutely. And now everybody's like awake just because I picked up that one cat. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. It was really fun, educational, all that stuff. Everybody who's listening, do the social stuff. We might actually need to go to Reddit now and post. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, but follow, subscribe, mightydiamonds.substack.com, newsletter, all that stuff. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
Hey.